Hey everybody, this is Jason, Zombie Collector, and I thought I'd do my first and maybe only coronavirus edition for my video. Today I went to a flea market down the street from my crib, and I bought all these movies for $1, and wearing the mask was optional, so I always keep one in the back pocket of will keep my hanky, and I whipped it out and put it on if it's required. If it's not, hold on, we want to make sure I'm doing all the proper protocols. And if it's not necessary, I don't, because that's the world we live in. I don't know if this is the right way to wear it, but I thought I'd give it a shot because sometimes people wear, jugs on their head. Some people wear plastic bags. Some people wear cool ones so they can be like super woke on their masks. They have like sayings and slogans and all that. Some of you have pictures and all kinds of stuff. I got this one, I think from just a regular pharmacy or something. I just was like, oh, there's some masks. I better grab a couple because you just never know. So I know you even sometimes in Indiana now, you might have to wear a mask into the restaurant and eat and drink. You don't have to, but if you get up to go to the bathroom or leave, you got to put it back on. So just that like 30-minute window where you're doing most of your open mouth living experience, you don't have to, but just walking through a restaurant or walking out, you have to. Now, most places in Indiana is not that crazy, like other parts of the United States, but you do have that. I like when I talk, this thing kind of jingles a little bit. I wish I should have put a bell on it. So you just it's kind of up in the air. So I know other places are way worse than Indiana. So I'm very grateful that in the state of Indiana, we so far have been, responsible, but not extreme. I guess that's the best way to explain it. So with that being said, you didn't come here to talk about the Rona. Well, maybe you did. But let's get into this. So each one of these are $1. So I spent $10.70 at this flea market. And let's see what we have here. Some of these are additional copies that I had there's different variations of movies I already had. Some of them are new additions to the collection, and we'll get to it. I mean, I might turn around and sell some of these too. I don't think I have anything super rare or hard to find. So with that being said, the first up is Kevin Smith's Clerks. There's a couple different variations of this. There's like a double disc edition. This is a single disc. Here you have the Clerks. It was in backwards. It comes with the insert. As probably most of you all know, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. And Clerks is probably my favorite movie. I actually like Clerks 2, probably just as much, if not more, shockingly. But here is Clerks. There's a double disc set. I think it's called Clerks X, like for 10 years. And that's like maybe a 4 or 3 disc set. I think there's a Blu-ray. So there's different ones out there. There might even be a collector's or special collector's edition. But this one is a collector's series, a widescreen edition. And again, it's a single disc edition. But I did not have this one. I had the double disc. So I thought I'd add that one to the collection. Next up is a movie I used to watch with my dad. I'm really committed to this whole wearing a mask thing. And this, I don't know if I've seen this one. This is the director's expanded edition. I think I have this on DVD somewhere. I couldn't find it, but I'm glad I picked it up because it's I really love this movie, but it's more about nostalgia for me with my pops. And this is The Last of the Mohicans. So there you go. You have Daniel Day-Lewis when he kind of got burst onto the scene. So first time most people had seen Daniel Day-Lewis, at least in America. It comes with an insert, which is great. Within a Madeline Stowe. The disc itself, as you see, nothing fancy about that. But, here it is. And again, I mean, I'm not going to talk a lot about the movies in particular, because that's not what this is about. This is more just like, hey, this is what I picked up. Just a DVD haul video. So that was that one. So next up, I talked about this movie. There's like 5 variations of different colored covers based on the characters. But they also released a just generic version of like a special edition but this is the original release, I think. Now, this movie has a special edition, like 2 or 3 different special editions. But when it first came out on DVD, I believe this is the only way it came out. And this is Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. Now, if you all see, that's Mr. Pink, Steve Buscemi. That's an iconic scene in Reservoir Dogs. And this is like what you saw the poster. The poster looks just like this back in 92, I believe, when this came out. I'm not for sure. I think it's 92. And so anyways, here you have the Reservoir Dogs. And again, you're pretty straightforward discs. Nothing special. Again, a nice insert of Harvey Keitel, Mr. White. Right there. So there you go. So I was pretty excited about this. And the special features on this one's not anything special. Special features. Now this one, again, the Last Mohicans has a lot of special features. Most importantly, it's the expanded edition. So I want to go back and watch that because I love that movie. Like I said, again, it's a lot of nostalgia, but I really do love that movie. Next up, I just saw this one, and I honestly had no idea about it. I'm sure I heard about it at some point, but it's an old school Snapcase. This has to be this like Scream's 1990s, maybe early 2000s, but I don't remember. Live fast, skate hard, die laughing, grind. Now, the main reason I picked this up, shockingly, is for Jennifer Morrison. I really like her as an actress. I think she's very underrated. I enjoy her. This has a lot. This is a skateboard movie. So like in the 80s, there was a lot of like skate movies. Yeah, skateboard maybe, but a lot of roller skate type movies in the 80s. A lot of break dancing movies in the 80s. But in the 90s and the early aughts, there was a lot of skateboard movies. And so I'm kind of on a kick of getting a handful of this flea market I went to had a lot of different late 90s, early 2000s, or I like to say early aughts, a cinema, things that were just like direct to VHS back in the day, or maybe even direct to DVD that didn't have much, if any, releases, like theatrical releases. Almost. Maybe I should switch it up. Maybe I'll let this one hang down now a little bit. So, remember, I'm practicing my social distancing with you guys. So anyways, I have this right here, Grind. And again, I don't know any of these. I don't think any of these actors. Adam Brody's in this as well. And that's the only 2 names that even strike any kind of memory to me. It says, "To Air is awesome. AIR." Ha ha ha. So I don't know anything about this movie. Could be complete garbage, but we'll see. Like I said, next up, this is what I'm super excited about. This is a 5-film collection. This one's hanging down, like falling off. This one's more. This side's more committed to the right way. So we have this one here. This is a 5-film set. It's 13 Ghosts, 13 Frightened Girls, Mr. Sardanakis, Homicidal, and the Old Dark House. Mr. Sardonicus. There we go. Mr. Sardonicus. So, Mr. Sardonicus, Homicidal, and the Old Dark House. This is a William Castle horror movie collection. And I was so surprised because it has all 5 movies on 2 discs. I'm super excited about it. I've been a huge fan. These are all these are in widescreen. Wow, I did not know that. But there's the back of it. William Castle was famous, and I'm not going to get too much into it right now. I might do a review of some of the films. But he was like the original, showman. Like, if you see the movie Matinee with John Goodman, he was kind of like a huckster. You know, he did lots of gimmicks in his movies. And that's what made him really famous. He's kind of like a showman, if you can say. It was pretty much like a showman. So, William Castle, and he did lots of different movies where he'd have gimmicks throughout the movie that would go on in the theater, and people would be like, of course, scared, because this is, again, guys, back in, I think, mostly 50s and maybe 60s, and people, were easily scared back then with some of the shenanigans that you could kind of pull from, things from, your seats buzzing underneath you, like have electric buzzers going off in the middle of the movie at certain scenes, or like a witch or a ghost hanging up in the rafters and flying across the theater. Those are a few of the things that he would do to, like, get the crowds excited. Next up is a movie that no one talk. I've been talking about this movie for years, and no one ever talks about it. But it's a great cast. It's the only movie that I'm aware of, aside from Mr. Brooks, that Kevin Costner plays a bad guy, and that's 3,000 Miles to Graceland. And this is a heist film, kind of a heist film that went bad or wrong, and everybody dresses up. They're all like a gang of, criminals, kind of like gangster type guys. They all dress up like Elvis and rob this casino in Vegas. Well, of course, one thing leads to another, and it all doesn't work out quite the way Kevin Costner's character would like to have it work. But you have Kevin Costner, you have Kurt Russell, who else is it? Courtney Cox, Christian Slater, David Arquette, Howie Long for football fans, Kevin Pollak, and I think there's also a few other guys in here. Bokeem Washburn, I think, is in here. Anyways, but this is a great movie. Like I said, a lot of people kind of crap on it or just ignore it. But it's a great. There you guys go. But it's a really good movie. If you've not seen this movie, I highly suggest checking it out. There's the back of it. But again, 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Next up, I didn't even know this movie even existed. This is a double disc, 2 movies. But the first one, I'll show you here in a second. I love this series. I kind of mentioned it in another video. I picked up the 4K Ultra HD version, but it's Underworld and Underworld Evolution with all of a sudden, what in the world? What is her name all of a sudden? Seriously, I can't remember her name. Kate Beckinsale. This mask, man, is going to my brain. So the reason why I picked this up was because now I have the original version of this movie on a special collector's edition, but I think it was this collector's edition. I could be wrong, but this is the unrated extended cut of Underworld. So I don't know about this. It doesn't say that on this box cover. So I'm not for sure what's going on. I don't know if somebody did an old swapperoo at the flea market or what or whatever. But then you have Underworld Evolution here. And but it doesn't even say, it does say on the back of this box that it is the unrated extended cut of the film. So but this one came with the slip cover, which is kind of cool. I'm a huge fan of slip covers. Again, I talked about this in other movies. Slip covers make the price of the film go up because usually they do not come with the slip cover. So Underworld and Underworld Evolution. Next up is a really, really B movie, and again, it was, I think Anchor Bay must have put this out, or it might have been the Sci-Fi Network. It's so lame. I'm sure Bruce Campbell would have loved to pretend this movie never happened, but Bruce Campbell is the man with the screaming brain. So right here, I think this came out right after Bubba Hotep, and man, this movie is you're talking about this movie is awful, the capital A. There is not very many redeeming qualities about this movie. I think it was based off of maybe a comic book or I don't know, something. And maybe it was, I don't know, but it was awful. It was a terrible, terrible movie. Oh, Bruce Campbell directed it. Whoops. Awkward. But you have there's one other pretty big name, Stacy Keach. He's in it. He plays, it looks like the mad scientist in here. I think I saw the movie one time, right when it first came out, because I was like, ooh, Bruce Campbell, this is going to be really good. And wah, 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 it was not. But again, it's a movie that has a following. It's Bruce Campbell. It's schlock. A lot of people like schlocky films. And it's one of those ones, and it does come with a insert. The one thing about this flea market I went to, the guy or whoever really took care of his movie, so I really appreciate that. He had all the inserts, and they had slip covers. He had them with them, so it was nice. So that was an interesting one. This one right here, I just picked up. I've never seen this edition. I don't know if it has anything special. Is there special features in it? I don't think so. It says digitally mastered widescreen collector's edition, America's most talked about movie. And honestly, it looks like it was like one of the very first releases on DVD. I don't know what year this DVD came out, but it was like late 90s. So that makes sense. Because I think DVD didn't start coming out like really like in the forefront until like the mid-aughts. Early to mid-aughts. Like late 90s was right when it first became a thing, because there was still VHS back then that was probably more popular than the actual DVDs. With that being said, it is Trainspotting. Now, I love this movie. It's so super weird, super, like, no other movie is like this movie, in my opinion. Whoa now. I'm so sorry. I hope everybody's okay. I got a little bit too excited. Woo! So sorry, guys. I hope everybody was at least 6 feet away. But when this movie first came out, Danny Boyle did this movie, who did Slumdog Millionaire, 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. He's done a Trainspotting Part 2, obviously. He's done quite a few films. And I don't know if this was his first movie, but this one put him on the map. And obviously you have Ewan McGregor here. You have, who else is on here? Johnny Lee Miller, who was famous for Hackers. And he also was, I think, Sherlock Holmes in the TV show, like Sherlock or whatever. He was in there. Robert Carlyle, who shows up in 28 Days Later, I think. And then you also have the guy, Ewan Brimmer. He's in a couple other, like, Predator versus Aliens. So there's a couple guys that he would recognize. But mostly you see young Obi-Wan Kenobi as your main number one here. And there you have the back. It's a great... You got Bigby, Diane, Sick Boy, Spud, and Renton. And I was always a fan of Sick Boy and Renton. Those are my two favorites, but they're also the same actors I actually like quite a bit. So there is Trainspotting. I saw Trainspotting Part 2. Loved it. Loved Trainspotting Part 2. It was just a really nice addendum, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. It was really good. And then the last one, I say the best for last. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I never heard of this movie, but this movie is perfect for what's going on in the world today. And I kid you not, you're not going to believe the title of this movie. I hope everybody's sitting down, because this was a prophetic film by none other than Stuart Townsend, the actor who was best known for, I think, oh my gosh, what is the movie that was quasi-awful with Sean Connery playing like Alan Quartermain? Whatever it was like, literary characters. It was kind of like a superhero movie with literary characters. I can't remember, but Stuart Townsend plays Dorian Gray. Look at the title, guys. Battle in Seattle. Can you believe that? 6 lives, 6 battles, 1 city. Can you believe that's actually the title of this movie? There's like guys in riot gear, protesting. Here you have, you look at the back, there's police and people in face masks and people rioting. Can you believe this? The actors are Andre Benjamin, so Benjamin 3000 from, the rap group. I can't even think of the rap group's name. You got Jennifer Carpenter, Woody Harrelson, Ray Liotta, Michelle Rodriguez, Charlize Theron, who is married or was married to Stuart Townsend at the time. Who else is in? Is anybody else in there? That'd be Joshua Jackson, Connie Nielsen, Chatham Tanning. Wow, he was pretty young in this, I bet. But anyways, so let me just read the real quick synopsis. In November 1999, it's November 1999, and 5 days are about to rock the world as tens of thousands of demonstrators take to the streets of Seattle in protest of the World Trade Organization ministerial meeting. Among them are Django, Andre Benjamin, Sam, Jennifer Carpenter, Lou, Michelle Rodriguez, and Jay, Martin Henderson. Each has a unique story, but they're united in a common desire to be heard and to make a difference in the world. For these 4 protesters, this is very personal, and the stakes are very high, and they're more than mere politics. Woo! A peaceful demonstration to stop the WTO talks quickly escalate into a full-scale riot. And soon, a state of emergency is declared by the mayor of Seattle, which we know the mayor of Seattle in real life is too scared to actually do anything like that. The streets are mayhem, ... I'll just leave it there. Can you believe this? So, like, literally, 11 years ago they did this movie, and here we are today in 2020 with it actually happening. So, isn't that prophetic? Woo! I didn't know about that. So, guys, there you go. Battle in Seattle. That even rhymes. I was a poet. I didn't know it. So, guys, let me know what you think. 10 movies, $10. I'm going to probably go back. This is a treasure trove. This is one that had been around. I used to hit up quite a bit, but I didn't in the last couple months because obviously the Rona. But I went back, and it looks like they have 4 or 5 new vendors. It has a lot of movies there as well. So I'm going to probably be picking through those. But let me know what you think. What movies did you like? What movies you saw you don't like? Was I will turn you on anything you had never seen or heard of before? What are your thoughts on some of this stuff? And I like the conversation. So anybody who wants to, let me know or talk and let me know what you think. And then again, guys, hopefully this was fun and educating for you. If not, I had a good time regardless. So until next time, peace. Wear your mask.